This video is on adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. First, we're going to deal with addition with both positive and negative numbers. Sometimes when you're solving problems like these, it's best to use a number line. So our instructions here say, use a number line to solve. So first thing you're going to want to do is draw that number line. Start with 0 somewhere and go ahead and label. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in the other direction, -1, -2, and -3, and they'll keep going. So the first number we have here is 2, so we'll plot that on the number line. Every time you're adding, you're going to move to the right for positive numbers. So we're going to add 3. So positive numbers are going to go to the right. So we can say, to add 3, 1, 2, 3, and we end up right here. Your final answer will be 5. And that looks just like what we've seen before. So we've done problems before where we do 2 plus 3, that's just regular addition you've been doing since you were a child, which equals 5. Now let's do a problem with negative numbers like this one here. Same thing, first we want to start by drawing a number line. I'm going to put 0 over here because we have 7, and 7 is a large positive number, so we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will be 7. This will be 1, 3, 5. I'm just labeling every other one. Now we'll go 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. So our first number is 7. So we'll mark that here. And now it's telling us to add -2. Negative numbers, you're going to move to the left on the number line. So we're going to go 1, 2, and now we're on 5. So if you do 7 plus -2, you get positive 5. 7 plus -2 is exactly the same as if we said 7 minus 2. So in that case, you would have had 7 plus -2, and you can ignore this and have just 7 minus 2. And that's also positive 5, so we know that it's correct. Our last problem is -6 plus 4. So we'll draw our number line. This time we know we have to go far in the negative direction, so I'll put the 0 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll label 2, 4, 6. These are all negatives. And we'll go in the positive direction. This is 2, and this is 4. So we're going to start with our first number, and this time our first number is negative. So I'll put a point at -6, because that's our first number. Our second number is positive 4. So remember up here, we said positive goes to the right. So that's the same in this problem as well. So if it's positive 4, we're going to go to the right 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop on -2. So here, -2 is our answer. A good way to think about a problem like this is about debt. So if you owe somebody -$6, so you owe somebody $6, that means you are missing $6, and that's why it's negative. Then you pay them $4, so you're giving them $4, so that's positive money they're receiving. You'll still owe them $2, and -$2, that would be money you don't have, so you'd still be in debt. In doing those last few problems, there have been a couple patterns that have shown up. So one of those is that a positive plus a positive equals a positive number. That's the sort of addition we've been doing for a long time. So 7 plus 9 equals 16. Positive 7 and a positive 9 gives you a positive 16. Same if we did 2 plus a positive 4, which equals positive 6. So a positive plus a positive equals a positive. We also found that a negative plus a negative equals a negative. So if you owe somebody $4 and then you owe them another $4, so you spend $4 more of their money, then you do 4 plus 4, and that gives you 8. But since we're going the negative direction, the 8 must be negative as well. Another example of that would be -2 plus negative 3 equals negative 5. We like to put our negative numbers in parentheses just to make it more clear that they're negative. Our last rule is a little bit tricky. So a positive number plus a negative number has the sign of the number with the largest absolute value and is the difference between the absolute values of the numbers. Let's try an example to see what this really means. So if we have a positive number like 4 and we add a negative number like negative 6, it tells us that it has the sign of the number with the largest absolute value. So we know the absolute value of 4 is equal to 4. The absolute value of negative 6 is equal to 6. So 6 has the largest absolute value. 6 is also the negative number. So we know that our answer is going to have the sign of the number with the largest absolute value. So it's going to be negative. So the answer is then the difference between the absolute values of the numbers. So the difference between the absolute value of negative 6, which is 6, and the absolute value of 4, which is 4, would be 6 minus 4, which equals 2. So the difference between these absolute values is going to be 2. So our answer is going to be negative 2. Let's try another problem. Let's say 8 plus negative 3 is equal to, here we're going to look again at the absolute values. So the absolute value of 8 is 8. The absolute value of negative 3 is equal to 3. So 8 is greater than 3, so we know that our answer is going to have the same sign as 8. The difference between the absolute values of these two numbers is 8 minus 3, which is equal to 5. So because the 8 was larger, and that had the largest absolute value, and it's positive, and then the difference between their absolute values, which are 8 and 3, would be 5, and that's your final answer. So remember that this rule, it says positive plus a negative, but because of our commutative property of addition, negative plus a positive would also be the same thing. So you would solve it in the exact same way. Now before we switch over to subtraction, let's talk really quick about our subtraction rules. So one of the first rules that's very, very important is that 2 negatives equals a positive. So that means that if you have a negative, negative 3, or you have something minus a negative 3, you have 2 negatives, so one here and one here, and that's going to give you a positive 3, just on its own. So if you have a negative, negative 1, that'll be a positive 1. So at any point if you're subtracting a negative, that number will become a positive. You can think of that as these two negatives coming together to make a positive, because a positive is just 2 lines. Our next rule is kind of a trick. It says that 5 minus 7 is the same as 5 plus negative 7. Now you can use your addition rules because you can make all subtraction problems into addition problems. Let's show this on a number line just to double check. So here's our 0. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, negative 1, 2, 3. I'm going to label the evens. So we're starting at 5, which is right here, and we're subtracting 7. So if we're subtracting 7, we're going to move to the left because we're taking 7 away and getting closer to 0. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this would be negative 1, and this would be negative 2. So 5 minus 7 is negative 2. So now we can do it again, and this time, we'll draw another number line so we can see both at the same time. We're going to do 5 plus negative 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are our negatives. So we're going to go ahead and start with 5, which is right here. And we're going to go to the left because the negative direction is to the left. We're going to the left 7, which is exactly what we did before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This here is negative 2, and that's our answer. Let's try a couple problems together. So here we have 2 negatives, so it's going to be negative 2 plus 3, because two negatives become a positive. Then we have negative 2 plus 3, so you take the sign of the number with the bigger absolute value. 3 has a bigger absolute value, so we know our answer is going to be positive, and we're going to find the difference between their absolute values. So the absolute value of 2 is going to be 2, the absolute value of 3 is going to be 3. The difference between 3 and 2 is 1, and we already said it was going to be positive because 3 has a bigger absolute value, so your answer is 1. Here we have 7 minus 4. That's also the same as 7 plus negative 4. But since 7 minus 4 is something we recognize from things we've done when we were younger, we're going to say 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. So it would also be the same as if we did 7 plus negative 4. That would also give us 3. Our last example is negative 6 minus negative 5. So these two negatives become a positive. So we have negative 6 plus 5. So now we do the same thing we did in the previous problem where we find the absolute values. So the absolute value of negative 6 is going to be 6. Absolute value of 5 is going to be 5. 6 has the bigger absolute value, so we're going to use the sign of 6. 6 is negative, so we're going to start with the negative. Now the difference between the absolute values, which are 6 and 5, is just 1. So our answer is negative 1. Feel free to test any of these on a number line to make sure that it makes sense to you and you understand it.